Okay, this one is going to be for the manufacturers. If you're seeing this on YouTube and you're involved in an operations team with a manufacturer, especially one in Canada, and you're still a little bit confused on where to start with AI adoption, we put together this page to not only help you understand sort of what AI voice agents can do, but also quite literally outlined the top 25 use cases that manufacturers can get into for leveraging AI. So everything from quote building, order status updates, production line updates, troubleshooting support. A lot of these things are right now being done by people who are working on the production lines, technicians. Hell, we've even seen engineers answering customer support calls or giving updates on orders on the production line, and they're an engineer. So again, I always point back to Canada's productivity problem. We have people who should be designing, complex manufacturing systems, answering questions on quotes and troubleshooting support. That sort of workflow is really hurting our productivity. So giving a lot of these more mundane tasks to robots to do automatically 24/7, where your people can work a lot smarter and a lot more effectively. That's generally what we're trying to get to Canadians. So I wanted to get into one of the most recent pieces we put up here because it goes into the some of the specific use cases for manufacturers. It's a little bit down here. So we got SEO for manufacturers, RFP, visibility, voice AI for manufacturing. So the use cases that we have going for a couple of our clients right now is it's quote building, having the ability to generate a quote 24/7 without someone having to be there to answer questions on the scope of work or the volume of components or the type of materials. That's really valuable because then it gives the customer a lot more freedom in their purchasing journey with your team than having to rely on someone getting back to them, slowing down the sales cycle, and ultimately slowing down that transaction. And slowing down transactions, we know, is pretty much the opposite of productivity. The more transactions that we're capturing or engaging with generally leads to more growth. So for a manufacturer to be able to have a 24/7 quote builder available just by a simple phone call, and of course the quote gets emailed to the person who requested it. We even have automations where you can send the quote to an additional person that the agent can send that email out to 2, 3, 4 people after the fact, acting quite literally as a sales agent. The introduction we want to have for voice AI for manufacturing quote building in today's competitive manufacturing landscape, generating accurate and timely pricing is crucial for staying ahead or even just keeping up. The traditional method of manually generating quotes can be time consuming, error prone, and inefficient, especially for manufacturers dealing with complex pricing models. You might need a calculator or some sort of platform to generate a quote. These AI agents can do astrophysics with you on the phone if you wanted. They can generally build quotes out very easily. So for them to handle the quote building process is to take that more mundane task away from the people who don't need to do it. You don't want to have your engineer who's getting paid $200 an hour putting together quotes. You'd rather have a machine do it automatically. So by automating the generation, the quote generation process through voice commands, this is all done by voice. There's no typing into anything. Manufacturers can significantly streamline operations. And so, what is a voice AI for quote building and manufacturing? Voice AI for quote building and manufacturing is advanced technology that automates the process of generating price quotes through voice commands. It uses natural language processing and machine learning to understand spoken inputs and process the necessary data and deliver accurate pricing literally on the spot. And so in the manufacturing environment, the voice AI can interact directly with customers, even sales teams that need quick quotes, and guiding them through that process. Um, for example, a customer might provide key details about their orders, like part specifications, quantities, delivery deadlines, all by just speaking to the AI, and then the details are processed and pushed to CRMs. Use appropriate pricing models based on those inputs, and the user, or in this case, the potential client, is getting a quote in real time. How this works in a typical manufacturing scenario: customer or sales team member speaks to a voice AI system, provides information such as product type, quantity, and special requirements. The voice AI system then accesses real-time data from ERP and CRM systems. Like, we can have the voice agent go into your inventory to determine how many of a particular units left, the cost and specifications of that unit, and then bring that type of language into the call automatically. Pulling up to date information on materials costs, inventory, and production schedules. Like, if you have what's called an MES, or a manufacturing execution system, deployed across your production lines, you're a very, very powerful candidate for having an AI agent interact with customers, technical support teams, for even, like, we have ideas where if your MES can sense that there's an issue on the production line, then an AI agent can literally be triggered to call the technician or send an email to the technician, or both, to make sure that the maintenance schedule is, aligned, or maybe there's needs a emergency maintenance now. But the sky's the limit for you guys if you have APIs, within your systems that are managing your production lines. Based on this information, and back to the quotes, based on information, AI can calculate price using pre-configured rules, factoring in variables like material costs, labor, and delivery fees. All of this is automatic. Like, you don't have to have someone sitting down with a calculator trying to figure this out. AI agents can pretty much do all of this automatically, 24/7. Voice AI for quote building. It's a highly customizable automation. It can be tailored to handle complex pricing models for custom parts, or straightforward for pricing for bulk orders. And I mean, we're not quite there yet, but I'm very confident that at some point in time, if the agent can recognize that the person calling is a current customer, there should be no issue in the agent actually putting the order through for the person who's called. And so your sales team doesn't have to worry about any sort of inbound order taking. We don't want our salespeople to be order takers. We want them to go out and find new business, and so they can focus more on that. And by automating the quote generation process, Voice AI helps manufacturers produce accurate and consistent quotes faster, reducing errors and improving overall efficiency. This technology ensures that the sales team can focus on growing the business. There you go. While AI handles the heavy lifting of quote creation. Key benefits of automating quote building in manufacturing include faster quote generation, accuracy and consistency, increased customer satisfaction, of course, because everything's being done instantaneously. Cost reduction, the time it takes to do things is significantly reduced. And of course, you can scale this to any number of phone. I think we were told like 50 to 100 calls at a time, but it's more like thousands. But really, you wouldn't need a situation like that. If you're a manufacturer, you probably have a steady flow of quote requests that a single AI agent could be managing, no problem. Automating quote building with voice AI provides a competitive edge by enabling manufacturers to respond faster, more accurately, and at a lower cost. This empowers businesses to streamline their sales process, leaving them free to focus on growth and innovation. And this is really like for me, I got team members doing things, building stuff, selling stuff. So for me to be able to devote time to even just making YouTube videos for you guys, it really helps in the visibility and credibility side of things for the business, because I trust that the AI operations that we have in place are doing work. So I'm comfortable putting together these videos. The quote building process with AI in manufacturing. Step one is the customer interaction. Step two is the data retrieval and price calculation. Step three is the quote generation. Step four is the delivery and follow up. Follow up part is a little bit more sophisticated of an automation, definitely doable though. But to have a quote machine just constantly working for you every day, that's quite literally generating leads for you because people are getting quotes, could really supplement that top of funnel activity for sales teams working for manufacturers. Real world use cases of voice AI for quote building and manufacturing, custom manufacturing orders. This is where it's because we're using uh, like live and direct voice transcription. AI agents seldom miss what people are saying on the phone. It might be a little hard to hear for us humans. We have to try and make out what people are saying on the phone. These AI agents can cut through the noise, get exactly what it is that the person's looking for, and build meaningful quotes at warp speed and with little to no errors. Like, it's amazing how effective they are. B2P manufacturing transactions, dealing with large bulk orders. Voice AI can automate the quoting process by processing large quantities of data at once and instantly calculate pricing based on volume. Obviously, we set the conditions out for what pricing looks like in any particular scenario, but that all comes down to the workshops and the ideations we do for any specific use case. Dynamic pricing and manufacturing projects. Again, like, the more data you have, the more things you got to talk about on a phone call, the more likely it is that a human being is going to miss some piece of data or something part of the project that might be important. Because voice AI is recording and transcribing everything that's said on the call, nothing is missed and everything is analyzed. So it's really great for more complex projects where there's a lot of things needing to be exchanged on a call, maybe between two engineers. You're better off having one engineer speak to a voice agent, dumping all the specifications and requirements onto that voice agent, and then just having that voice agent do an analysis of their requirements, organizing it in a meaningful way, and then sending it to the second engineer. We call those AI decision making layers. And if you have a decision making layer between your touch points of engagement between either internal stakeholders, customers, or really anyone within an operation or organization, it really helps clarify the communication between people. Like, I always tell my guys, you're not sending any emails out until you've consulted with an AI agent to make sure that the languaging is as clear and as simple as possible so that the people we're talking to can understand it. And with large projects with a lot of different moving parts, it's great to see how AI agents do it, because you can have a full-on conversation with an agent, give it all the details of a project in a very mishmash way, and then have an email sent to another engineer with all the details in the project completely outlined and organized in a way where they have no questions whatsoever. Let me see what else we have. Especially manufacturing, this would be huge because there's so many details involved in the production. AI tends to capture every single detail, so nothing is missed. This is where we see overcoming challenges. API integration is probably the biggest challenge that Canadians face, because it's we got a small space of people who know how to do it, and the AI space is extremely API driven. And API is application programming interface. So the systems that you're using, they are displaying data to you on dashboards or within a property for a contact or a business, and all of these data points are in data fields that can be shared or transferred through what's called an API, and that's how integrations work. And a lot of the times we speak with teams, even technical teams, that don't necessarily know how to put together the integration. So when we start plugging in AI agents into their systems to do work, they're like, holy shit, you know, we have a robot that's now talking to our system, and we don't have to do anything, which is the real beauty of artificial intelligence. Is it's you're automating all the stuff that you wouldn't want to normally do or spend time on, and that makes you a lot more productive. Obviously, data security, privacy concerns. We use pretty much end-to-end encryption, SOC 2 compliance for all of our systems, so everything is auditable, privacy, or has privacy built in. It's called privacy by design. It's a regulation that is enforced in the United States. So all of the systems that are designed in the States have to meet a regulatory threshold of auditability, confidentiality, and security. We don't have that type of regulation here in Canada because our tech industry is not that advanced. But generally, AI systems follow these international guidelines because most of the world is come to understand, like, if we want to have our systems communicating with other systems, they need to be safe. And generally, we don't use any systems unless they meet these thresholds for security. A complex pricing model is another one. We try to make it very straightforward. You pay for implementation, and then you pay for when the agent's used. Some other teams might charge you for API usage and stuff like that. Special case if you're using a lot of API calls. But pricing should not be complex. If you're looking at doing any sort of AI project, you're looking at implementation costs and then ongoing operational costs, where eventually you know what that looks like on a year-to-year basis, and you just get it into a subscription. So it's not as bad as it looks on the surface. Customer adaptation to AI technology. This is one thing that we're noticing now with just the front end users interacting with voice agents. Some of them will quite literally say, I don't want to talk to a robot. I want to talk to a human being right now instead. We don't mind when people say that, because it's a lot better for someone to be upset with a robot and then get routed directly to a human being to do business than it is for someone to call a business, get no one, or leave a voicemail, or gamble on an email, and then no transactions occur after the fact. So for us, the AI agents act as sort of a lubricant for engagement and transactions. Even if people don't like them, they'll tell the AI, hey, I don't like you. I want to speak to a human being. No problem. We'll route you to the nearest salesperson so they can take your credit card. And it's that's the irony of fearing these AI systems. They're trying their best, absolute best to help you. And inevitably, them helping you is just getting you down the sales cycle or the customer support cycle as fast as possible. Training and adoption is another thing. We do all of that stuff for you, even ongoingly, from initial implementation all the way to your AI agent's 2-3 years old. We'll be able to help you with making sure that she's up to date and aligned with your brand culture, SOPs, products, inventory, all that stuff. API integration for a voice AI in manufacturing systems. This is where a lot of teams go, they put their hands up and say, hey, we have no idea how this works. If your manufacturing execution system has an available API, you can have your system interact with AI agents, which is powerful in a couple ways, because you get real time access to your CRM on the call, with whoever the agent's talking to. They can bring up their information. Hey, I remember you put an order in last week. Did you want to put another order in? You want to get another quote for the same thing? Or it's, hey, I noticed you weren't in the system yet. Can we get your information in the system? Once you have API integrations, all of that stuff's relatively easy to do, and that takes the onus off of salespeople, receptionists having to manually input that data and spend a lot of time on things, keeping them in the Canadian busy trap. Streamlining the sales process, of course, customization and flexibility. Like, when it comes down to the integrations, it's really everything's custom there. And that's why when we see out of the box AI deployments, it's really, it's a little disappointing, because we know that deployment's probably going to be dead in the water in a couple months once people see how little it does in terms of production. You want to really customize these things to make them sing for you. Of course, improve decision making. The more data you collect through AI, the more accurate you can be, and the more accurate that AI can be when they're making their decisions and giving you insights into that data. So yeah, everything generally gets an uptick in accuracy once you install some of these AI decision making layers in your process. Let me see, we're getting close to the bottom here. Future quote building with voice AI in manufacturing. If you have an agent that's sort of used to the conditions of what a quote will look like, you can do predictive pricings and dynamic adjustments based on previous pricing history, previous quotations. You can also forecast, the types of revenue or performance you're going to have with AI. Given history, it's really good at giving you insights into your own data. But I think the real big thing is going to be the integration and the personalization. Like, for say my name was David and I called the manufacturer and I got an order and I enjoyed my time. 6 months later, I'm still calling. This time I got a voice agent. I say, hey, I'm just looking to make another order. My name's David, and the AI agent has a phone number. It'll be able to look me up in the system with my phone number, and any other pieces of information you need to be able to look up a previous order and say, hey, David, notice you made an order 6 months ago. Are you ready for another order? Here's a quote. So it's these types of automations that really, you know, as much as people don't like AI, they say, well, the AI can remember me better than my sales guy. So maybe I'm better off just talking to a robot. Um, Let me see. Scalability and cost efficiency is a huge one. Like, all of these systems that we're talking about building are generally cheaper to build than it would be to hire someone to do it 24/7, especially with the cost of living going up. People in Canada generally want more of a salary for doing the same work that they were doing before. But now that this technology exists, AI agents, robots can do a lot of the things that we want to do faster and at a lower cost. For example, we there was a piece we just put together on Canada's losing the AI race, or productivity. We're stuck in the busy trap, stuff like that. We have doctors across the country now who are requesting more money for doing administrative work. So I've been 37 at the end of the month. For me to see that in my lifetime, we were going from we need more doctors in the country, which is bottom line. We all need more. Every country does. To now doctors want more money for like booking appointments and doing administration instead of taking care of patients. That's a big red alert flag for me. Like, Canada's supposed to have a very powerful healthcare system, but our doctors are asking for more money to do paperwork instead of actually taking care of patients. And I don't know what the emergency threshold line is for the government to start getting involved in forcing adoption, but I would say healthcare is a great place to start, because you can't be having doctors asking for more money to do administration. That's just a no-no in terms of efficiency and moving towards a better way of doing things. We want doctors to be incentivized to. We want people to be incentivized to become doctors so that they get a lot. They get the feeling of taking care of people, but I also get a really strong compensation for taking care of people. You don't want people to start thinking, well, if I become a doctor, I'm going to be getting paid good money to do administration and scheduling. Then you really just have a glorified receptionist. So having AI agents do a lot of that work instead, very powerful. Doctor can continue to take care of patients while agents take care of the rest. So a few questions that you might have if you're a manufacturer. Again, I use the doctor example because it's the most salient one that stands in our faces when it comes to the need for AI in the country. But how accurate are AI generated quotes for manufacturing? They're extremely accurate. Like, I would say 99.99% accurate, far more accurate than you would get if you were to have a human do the same number of quotes. Human error is going to be far higher. Can voice AI handle complex pricing structures in manufacturing? 100% it can. It does it with frightening effectiveness. How does voice AI integrate with existing manufacturing systems? If you have an ERP or manufacturing execution system or some sort of application that's along your production line that is measuring, your output or your the flow of materials across a production line, we can plug an AI agent into that to pretty much be an overseer or understand what's going on with the system. We can train the voice AI to learn over time, or we can adapt it over time so they can change. It's not like where you're trying to teach an old dog new tricks. You're teaching a robotic dog whatever trick that you want. How can voice AI improve customer satisfaction in manufacturing? Instantaneous quotations, instantaneous feedback. People like things right now. Waiting days for a quote is pretty ineffective when it comes to growth or productivity. Remember, we want to push for as many transactions as possible in a shorter amount of time. That generally leads to growth. And the long-term effects of adopting voice AI for quote building and manufacturing is your improved efficiency over time is going to save you a lot of time over however long you look at it, and that will allow your teams to be more innovative, create better products, or just manage customer service in a more meaningful way. And that generally leads to increased customer satisfaction. So if you're a manufacturer in Canada for whatever that you are producing, and you're trying to figure out a way to have elevated customer experience, that's the one thing that we get. We got a lot of winners who want to book meetings with us and just say, "Hey, I want AI because I want my business to look better and be stronger than our competitors because we have AI." We got guys in here like that, but then we also get the other opposite end of the spectrum where it's people who are so busy and overwhelmed with their mundane work, where they're just thinking to themselves, they have to find something to help them, or they're going to be swamped forever. And those are generally the two groups. We have the super winners who just want to put AI into their operation because they know it's powerful. And then we have the other group that needs help, genuinely needs help with their operation, where they're falling through quicksand every single day with the amount of tasks they want to accomplish. So if you're in either of those groups, don't hesitate to book a discovery call with our team. We'll literally do everything for you, from um figuring out where the most low hanging fruit use case is for your operation, the tools that you need to implement them, and then implementation and support. We'll do it after. Like, we know that it's very, very hard for Canadians to get into AI. So we're a fully managed service. You tell us what you want built. I always tell my customers, whatever you can think of or conceive in terms of an idea or operation, we can probably build that with AI. So you don't have to think about the more technical underpinnings of your operation. Just think, what would my ideal world look like, and then we'll just build that for you. If you're a manufacturer and you enjoyed this, you can hit subscribe and like on the video. But I'm going to try and get some more pieces up for manufacturers because I feel like you guys don't get enough airtime, or not a lot of people helping you with this space. If you feel like this was helpful, and feel free to share it with your colleagues or any other internal stakeholders you have at the facility, to say, hey, you know what? There's a guy out there who can help us with operations. We might not know anything, but their team's more than happy to help, and we'll show you what our other customers are doing. Looking forward to the next one. Bye now.